Good day and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. In this video we're going to be talking about the Undermine Zone and basically how you can have a complete guide on how to get there, what to do there, what to focus on, and the rewards and benefits of participating in the new zone for the War Within. Now, accessing Undermined is pretty simple. You should get the quest automatically. If you don't, you can accept it from your adventure guide. It'll be Undermine Chapter 1. It's super important to understand that you have to be max level, and you have to have completed your initial war campaign. You don't have to complete the bonus war campaign, but you do have to complete the initial one. The quickest way to get to the start of the quest is going to be to take this little elevator out in D.R.I.V.E. It will literally spawn you right next to the initial quest giver. The initial questline to unlock Undermined will require you to do some work in a new, smaller zone that they've opened up called D.R.I.V.E, which is from a little rock explosion in the Ring of Deeps. So D.R.I.V.E isn't a huge area, but there are quite a few quests here, around about half an hour. You'll have to complete this section of quests before you'll gain access to the drill that will take you to Undermine. Undermine is a pretty straightforward area, but I highly suggest that, at least in the beginning, you just continue to focus on the main quest line up until the point pretty much where you unlock the drive function. What's super important is to continue pushing that main quest line as much as you possibly can. The main quest will slowly push up your Renown rankings, starting to allow you to unlock more functionality and more of these little kind of purple quests that you'll find located around the area. And because of this reason, I highly suggest you just push through Chapter 1, finishing all of it before you take on the rest, but you can take breaks and complete more stuff. Getting access back to D.R.I.V.E is pretty easy. There's a quest called Test Run that you can locate on your map. Accept it, complete it, and just step on the teleporter pad. This will give you a quick shortcut to and from Undermined that won't require you to run through the Ring of Deeps or to run through D.R.I.V.E. It's just a nice, super simple way to get access back to D.R.I.V.E and then back to Undermine with relative ease. In terms of the next thing to do would be unlocking Drive. Now, to unlock Drive, you will need to take a quest called No More Walking here. Before you're able to take this quest, you will have to advance the main quest campaign for Chapter 1 up until the quest A Trail of Black Blood. It will be pretty soon into your journey into Undermine. Once you have taken the quest, you can head over to Nanny Talua. You can complete the quest with her, and then she will give you a license not required. This will run you through a tutorial on how to use the drive function. Right now, the drive function looks pretty interesting. I highly suggest you do the tutorial, although you don't have to. It's not something mandatory. You can skip it even on your initial character. Once you've done this, it will unlock Drive for your warband, so you won't have to redo these quest lines. Your other characters will immediately begin with the accessibility to the Drive mounts. Now, with Drive comes jobs. Jobs can be activated with a little remote that you'll find on your toolbar. Jobs are very important for two reasons. One, they are a great way of getting Valor Stones. And two, they contribute towards two very important weekly quests that you'll pick up with your character. Jobs are like very minute world quests. You will drive to the location indicated on the arrow above your head once you begin jobs, and you will then go complete a set task. Sometimes it's defeating enemies, sometimes it's just talking to an NPC. Jobs will be given to you sequentially, consistently, until you switch them off. The reason this is so important is because there is the surge pricing event. This is the equivalent of like the Radiant Chest that you have in Hallowfall, or the Troop Theater event that you have in D.R.I.V.E. This event requires you to do basically a whole bunch of jobs back to back to back. All the players' amount of jobs that they do cumulatively will apply to a weekly chest that you can obtain, as well as also will allow you to complete weekly quests that you can pick up from the central hub of the zone. I'll talk about those a little bit more when we get to world quests, but it's important that you understand the basics of completing jobs, accepting them and running them, so you can do the surge pricing event to not only complete these quests, but to get the weekly chests. The chests that you get from the event are also pretty good, containing usually some really valuable upgrade items like weathered crests, and also quite a fair chunk of gold. Your weekly cartel and your world quests are something super important. Once you've advanced beyond just the cusp of the initial questline, you can speak inside to KD Rockestra, I think's her name, and choose a cartel for the week. Whichever cartel you choose will be locked in for the week, and any world quests you do in the region will give you reputation towards that faction. Your weekly quests and your special operations chest for the week will also give you reputation towards that faction. The special operation or special assignment quest requires you to complete 3 world quests. The world quests are exactly the same as any others you've seen before, except instead of dragon races, you will have D.R.I.V.E races. There are 2 weekly quests you'll also want to pick up. These require you to complete jobs. Many jobs can handle it, and urge to surge. This correlates to the jobs I mentioned previously, and are your weekly functional quests that you can pick up for this zone, much like any weekly regional that you can pick up anywhere else. World quests are exactly the same as above board, so there isn't anything too crazy for you. On top of that, you will have your special operations, which will be unlocked after completing 3 world quests. This chest is very important as it can give you a veteran track, level piece of gear, and obviously quite a fair chunk of gold, much like the special operations chests that exist in the overworld. Scrap digging is a new function that you can do in Undermine. To unlock it, you will have to be Renown rank 3, and then you will be able to pick up the quest Trash to Profit. This will be located in the central hub of the region. Once you have taken this quest, you can complete 2 further tutorial quests that will enable you to unlock scrap digging. Scrap digging itself is honestly a very straightforward process. It also has a weekly quest that you will want to complete as well. This is reduce, reuse, and resell, and this requires you to complete 3 scrap digging mini games or mini events. So it's also added incentive for Renown. Scrap digging is super straightforward. Look on your map for these little scrap heaps. When you get to one, you and other players will have 2 minutes to basically farm from that scrap heap. As you farm from it, you'll pick up cans of reused items. As you upgrade your Renown, you'll get further access to better abilities to farm better treasure. There's a whole bunch of mini games around this, very similar to any of the numerous little mini world events you find. Defeating enemies, knocking enemies back, picking up cola cans, throwing away trash, all standard stuff. At the end of each one, based on how you guys did, you'll pick up some gold, resonance crystals, and valor stones. So pretty good. There's a vendor for this, but we'll break it down a little bit more probably in a video detailing scrapping and why it's important to do for all players. Now, in terms of the chat functionality, in the central hub on the 2nd floor of the Intercontinental Hotel, you'll find a machine called Chat. You cannot access it for now, but at rank 13 it will give you the chat list. This is a list of activities that you can complete each week, based largely on things like world quests, scrap digging, etc. And completing 4 of the 8 tasks it gives you will allow you to reward yourself a special item that can give you reputation or special resources. There are numerous side quests across Undermine that you can complete, most times just giving valor stones, but obviously are still valuable to do. Then, of course, you also have the finding treasures. This is important because treasures can result in toys, but also, very importantly, can actually result in drive gear. Drive gear is pieces of gear that will change the functionality of your vehicles that use the drive function. So to make your life a lot easier, or to give you new functionality, you're going to want to find these drive gear pieces. Not every treasure chest has them, and some treasure chests have parts of drive gear. I'll talk a bit more about drive gear and finding its pieces in a more in-depth video on the drive function. Farming rares is also valuable for the exact same reason. Not only do they give you toys, some will drop gear, mostly 600 item level warbound gear or warband gear, but also will drop gear drive pieces. This is pretty good and highly suggested that you obviously farm them as best you can if possible. Other than that, you have the standard array of content that will become far more usable to you when Season 2 begins next week. However, right now they're only giving Season 1 rewards, but it doesn't mean you can't try them to give them a go, complete quests, etc. Delves, they obviously have been added in, with 3 new ones for this region. Then we have, or 2 new ones I should say, then we have the World Boss, the Godfather. Not currently available, but will be available next week for players to tackle. It will drop a 642 item level piece once Season 2 begins, which obviously is pretty cool. It's not guaranteed, but it is a chance of dropping, which I think ultimately is very helpful. Then we have raids and dungeons. We have a new dungeon that you can access right now, even though Season 2 has not started. This is Operation Floodgate. There are some dungeon quests for this, but generally maybe you want to try it out just to give it a good heads up before Season 2 begins, and you have to take it on competitively if you're looking to do Mythic Plus. And then obviously we have a new raid. This raid is pretty cool. Obviously they'll come out in full next week. The raid also is the first ever to have its own individual raid faction. So there are numerous cartels that you can farm reputation with, but what's very interesting is that the Liberation of Undermine, the raid, has its own Galagio loyalty raid track, which I think is very interesting and will actually give you buffs towards the raid. So that's very cool. And that's that. That should sum up Undermine for you. If you have any more questions or queries, or you want to just add some more information, please let me know in the comments down below. See you next time. Bye.